know, we spoke about this yesterday, how the WNBA owners said, you know what, y'all keep leaking everything. We ain't going to allow y'all to leak any more information. No more information is coming out about this CBA negotiation until y'all sign. That's the energy I'm getting. That's the energy that I'm hearing from social media around the league, from sources from everywhere, that the owners is tired. Today is the day.
March 10th. That's the date the WNBA gave the players' union. Past that deadline without a deal, and the season gets delayed. Well, guess what? We're past that date now, and according to Andrea Carter, who broke this story about 10 minutes ago, both sides are meeting today, right now. This is happening as we speak. And here's what makes this different from every other labor negotiation update we've seen over the past month. There are no leaks. ESPN's got nothing. The Athletic's got nothing. Nobody knows what's in these proposals that got exchanged over the weekend. When the media goes dark during labor talks, that's not a good sign. That's both sides finally understanding how serious this has become.
And as of right now, Caitlin Clark did open up about several things. Now, she did speak very briefly yesterday during FIBA basketball. If you guys don't know, Caitlin Clark and Team USA has arrived down in Puerto Rico to get the series started. Now, their games is scheduled for tomorrow. Team USA. Caitlin Clark didn't speak long. She had a couple things she wanted to say.
Caitlin Clark said lock everyone in a room until they figure it out. Well, that's exactly what's happening today. And the timing couldn't be more awkward because while the league is potentially falling apart over contract negotiations, Clark herself just landed in Puerto Rico for FIBA qualifiers. She hasn't played competitive basketball in 8 months, and her first game back is tomorrow while the league she plays for might be headed toward a work stoppage. The contrast is striking. Team USA is moving forward. FIBA has a schedule. Fans are ready to watch. Meanwhile, back in the States, WNBA owners and players are in what multiple sources are calling the most intense negotiation session of this entire process.
Hey, listen.
I mean, I don't even think it's like necessarily maybe nerves to a certain extent, probably almost like butterflies. Like, This is a super cool opportunity. And like, if you didn't feel that way, you probably don't really care enough about it. Like, that's how I feel about it for myself. Like, this is a different stage. Like, you're not going to come out here and be the star player. That's not how it's going to be for USA basketball. Like, you're going to find a way to help the team win. You're going to find a way to compete to the best of your ability. But I think for myself, like, there's certainly a level of, I don't want to call it nerves, but excitement and joy. And I mean, I haven't played basketball in 8 months either. So getting to do it at this level for my first time back, like, there's no better way. Like, get tossed out into the fire and figure it out. But I felt really good through practice. So more than anything, just really excited.
Listen to how she talks about this. Butterflies. Excitement. This is someone who's genuinely thrilled to be back on the court, representing her country. And you can hear it in her voice when she talks about getting thrown into the fire after 8 months off. That's the mindset of someone who loves the game. But here's what she's not saying in this clip. Here's what she can't say because she's representing USA basketball right now. Every day this CBA negotiation drags on is another day of uncertainty. Every day without a deal is another day fans start wondering if there's even going to be a season to come back to.
Where do things stand right now between the WNBA and the Players Union?
Yeah, Mina, well, the WNBA sent a counter proposal to the Players Union on Saturday. That was a day after the Players Union sent a counter proposal itself to the league on Friday. So you had that back and forth, but right now the ball is technically in the players' court. It's been described to me that those proposals contained sub-movement, indicating a little bit of progress, but I think it's notable that we actually haven't had leaks from either side so far about the contents of that proposal, perhaps indicating that both sides actually see and understand the seriousness of what this deadline tomorrow.
Terica Foster-Brosby from ESPN breaking down the situation on Saturday. Both sides exchanged proposals. The WNBA sent their counter on Saturday after the Players Union sent theirs on Friday. And she used a very specific phrase here, sub-movement, indicating a little bit of progress. Sub-movement, not major progress, not breakthrough. Sub-movement. That's diplomatic speak for they're still far apart, but at least they're talking. And notice what else she said. The fact that there haven't been leaks is notable. It indicates both sides see and understand the seriousness of what this deadline could bring. Translation? The owners finally put their foot down. No more negotiating through the media. No more strategic leaks to pressure the other side. No more games. Sign today or face the consequences.
I know. Day of the game, I'm going to be hyped up and probably a little anxious, but in a good way.
I was going to ask.
I mean, I don't even think it's like necessarily.
Now there is another clip as well of Caitlin Clark speaking, and it's very brief.
Now here's the second clip of Clark in Puerto Rico, and I want you to pay attention to something. This is a woman who just became the biggest draw in women's basketball history. Rookie of the Year, led the Fever to the playoffs for the first time in 8 years, broke attendance records in every arena she played in, generated more media coverage than the entire league had seen in the previous decade combined. And she's over here talking about Team USA like it's the biggest opportunity of her life, not complaining about contract negotiations. Not worried about whether there's going to be a season, just focused on basketball. Meanwhile, the league that benefits most from her existence is potentially about to shut down because they can't agree on how to split the revenue she's generating.
Now, Alessa Philippou did say a little bit yesterday. Kendra Andrews reacted to Caitlin Clark as well. She put out a whole article. She said, I know the day of the game, I'm going to be hyped, probably a little anxious, but in good spirits. Now, from my understanding, no one ever watches these qualifying games. And for this stuff to be televised is like a big thing for FIBA basketball. Caitlin Clark is going to move the needle. There are going to be a lot of views. This might be the most watched women's basketball game.
This right here is why this FIBA qualifying tournament matters more than people realize. These games typically get zero attention. Nobody watches Olympic qualifiers for women's basketball, but Clark just changed that equation. Kendra Andrews wrote an entire article about how this might be the most watched women's basketball game since the Fever's season opener against Chicago last year. Think about that. An Olympic qualifier in Puerto Rico is about to outdraw regular season WNBA games. Not because of Team USA's legacy, not because of the Olympic dream, because one player has that much drawing power. And while she's down there generating interest in women's basketball on an international stage, the domestic league is in crisis mode, trying to finalize a CBA before they lose the entire season. The irony is almost painful. The WNBA has never been more relevant, never had more mainstream attention, never had better ratings and attendance, and they're on the verge of fumbling it completely because they can't figure out how to divide up the profits. So let's talk about what's really happening behind closed doors today. Because this meeting that Andrea Carter reported isn't just another negotiation session. This is the owners delivering an ultimatum. Go back to what we learned last week. The WNBA set March 10th as the target date. That wasn't a suggestion. That was the deadline to get terms agreed upon, or else the season would be impacted. Well, March 10th came and went, and now we're in the or else phase. The owners made a calculated decision after that deadline passed. No more information goes public. No more leaks. No more negotiating through ESPN and The Athletic. You want a deal? Come to the table and actually negotiate instead of trying to win in the court of public opinion. And you can tell it's working, because for the first time in this entire process, nobody knows what's in these proposals. The players' union sent their counter on Friday. The league responded on Saturday. And the content of both proposals? Complete mystery. That's not an accident. That's both sides finally taking this seriously. But here's what we do know from the timeline. The league has been pushing for this deal to get done since February. They've been public about the urgency. They've been clear about the consequences of delay. And the players' union has been equally public about their demands for revenue sharing, higher salaries, better travel conditions, and improved benefits. Those aren't unreasonable demands. The league just had its best year ever. Attendance up across the board. Ratings shattered records. Expansion teams selling for $50 million. The WNBA is finally making real money, and the players want their fair share. That's basic labor economics. But the owners are looking at this from a different angle. They've been subsidizing this league for decades, losing money year after year while keeping it alive because they believed in the product. And now that it's finally becoming profitable, they're not eager to immediately hand over half the revenue to players who, in their view, didn't take the financial risk. Both sides have legitimate arguments. Both sides have reasonable positions, and both sides are now locked in a room trying to find middle ground before this thing completely falls apart. The question is whether they can get there before fans start losing faith. Because here's the thing about momentum in sports. It's incredibly hard to build and incredibly easy to lose. The WNBA spent 25 years trying to break through to mainstream relevance. Caitlin Clark gave them that breakthrough in one season. But if they cancel games, if they delay the season, if they give fans any reason to tune out, that momentum evaporates. And they know it. That's why this meeting today is so critical. That's why the owners are finally playing hardball. That's why the silence from both sides is actually a positive sign. They're not performing for the media anymore. They're actually trying to solve this. So what happens next? Either they emerge from this meeting with a framework for a deal, or we start hearing about postponed games and delayed season starts. There's no middle ground anymore. The deadline passed, the consequences are real. And every day without a resolution is another day of damage to the league's credibility and momentum. The clock is ticking, the stakes have never been higher, and for once, both sides seem to understand that the time for posturing is over. Now it's time to actually get this done, or watch everything they've built start to crumble.